We got some pretty major breaking news as it just announced that 2311 Racing has been handed some pretty big penalties. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to the video. As I just said a second ago, 2311 Racing and the number 45 team have been docked 10 points after a Darlington violation. It was announced that NASCAR officials penalized the number 45 team from 2311 Racing on Tuesday for violations found in Cup Series pre-qualifying inspection last weekend at Darlington Raceway. Number 45 team was found in violation of sections 14.11.2.1.a of the NASCAR rulebook, which states that any and all ballast added to the vehicle must be secured inside a ballast container. Additional ballast containers will not be permitted to be added to the chassis. As a result, competition officials docked the team 10 points in both the drivers and owners' standings. The team had lost pit stop selections for Sunday's Goodyear 400 after the infraction was discovered during Friday's technical inspection at the 1.366-mile track, and crew chief Billy Scott was ejected for the remainder of the race weekend. 2311 Racing Performance Director Dave Rogers filled in for Scott, and Tyler Reddick drove to 22nd place finish in Sunday's 400-miler, scored as the final driver on the lead lap. It marked 2 consecutive weeks that the number 45 team failed pre-race, pre-qualifying inspection twice. Now, obviously, I don't know if this is due to them failing pre-qualifying inspection twice. This is one of the reasons why they got penalized, but it is in the NASCAR rulebook. You're not allowed to have bells to the car. But it's not really the biggest penalty in the world. It would not surprise or shock me if 2311 Racing decides to not go ahead and appeal these penalties, because while 10 points can be definitely really, really significant, it's really not the end of the world. I believe it still keeps Tyler Reddick around 10th place in the points, which if you stay in the top 10 in the points, that puts you in a position to get some extra playoff points, because Tyler Reddick's already locked in the plus with that win earlier this year at Circuit Americas. He's already guaranteed in. And this is now added on the list of teams that have been penalized so far this year. This is the first penalty we've had, though, in a few weeks. It's been kind of a team losing points. Obviously, you had the big penalty for Hendrick Motorsports at the beginning of the season when all 4 cars were penalized. I think 100 driver points outside of Chase Elliott, but Kyle Larson, William Byron, and Alex Bowman all been handed penalties, 100 penalties, but eventually they won their appeal. Then you had Carl Racing. They got handed some pretty big penalties, and then they got that kind of rescinded. I believe that's for Justin Haley's team. Basically the same infraction the Hendrick Motorsports basically had. They had Denny Hamlin. He got his penalty, and then you had Dale Swartz, I believe, get a 50-point penalty. And then recently you had Rich Strauss Racing and Austin Dillon. They got a 60-point penalty. And then, of course, Hendrick Motorsports before that, they got their penalty as well, the 60-point penalty for greenhouse violations for William Byron and Alex Bowman. But this is not a major, major penalty. This is basically the same amount of points that I think that Eric Jones' team and Ty Dillon's team got last year. It might have been 20, 25 points. I can't remember exactly, but they got handed with a penalty for something very similar to this. This is an L1 penalty. Not a major, major penalty, but it's interesting. I thought that there was going to be a penalty for this because they said that they literally let Dave, because usually they kind of get rid of the car chief. Usually you don't have the crew chief being ejected. So when the crew chief is usually getting ejected for the weekend, it is very, very serious and ends up being a very, very serious infraction. Luckily, it's not a major, major penalty. It's not a massive penalty, but still, 10 points is a lot of points. But I do not expect 2311 Racing to appeal the penalties. I think it's just because they didn't lose any playoff points. I expect that they will end up basically getting those points back in the next week, especially when we go to the Coke 600. They're still going to be a playoff contention. They don't drop out. Even though they've been a little inconsistent this year, they still have had a very solid year overall, and I think that Tyler Reddick will still be in a pretty solid position. I think he's still in the top 10 in points. This really doesn't drop him below, and it's interesting, though, to see this, but same token, I understand why NASCAR had to make the decision and the call right here. They've got to follow their own rules, and you got to follow the rules and stay in the zone. NASCAR has said that if you mess with these next-gen cars, you're going to get in a lot of trouble. And right here, 2311 Racing ended up messing with the next-gen car. Therefore, they get handed penalties. It's been basically in the rule book. Like I said, you can't mess with it. Now, NASCAR, of course, at times this year has been inconsistent when it has come to the rulings and how they officiated races this year as well. That being said, though, I think this is the right call. I expected there were going to be some sort of penalties. I'll be honest, I thought the penalties were going to be a little bit harsher than 10 points. I would have thought maybe they got like a 25 or 30-point penalty. The fact that they only got 10 points off, they actually kind of got a little bit lucky. And while they probably would rather not basically get any penalty at all, 10 points really is not the end of the world for 2311 Racing. They may not be happy about that, but overall, this is not the end of the world for 2311 Racing. Like I said, I don't think they're going to appeal the penalties, but it's very interesting to hear that they have been handed a 10-point penalty for ballast infractions. But it's definitely interesting interesting. And as time goes on, we'll have more updates on the story. Likely tomorrow when I do the news video, I'll probably have a little more updates on this story and discuss it here on the channel. So that is for today's special NASCAR report. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe to the channel, notifications on so when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links are below over that, and comment your thoughts below on today's video. Do you think the penalty that Tyler Reddick and the 45 team that received for 2311 Racing, and of course other members like Bubba Walls, received? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, like I said, there's going to be a NASCAR news video on the channel discussing NASCAR news over the last couple days. There might be a second video on the channel, but I'm not entirely sure yet. Might be around if Alex Bowman does officially make a return or not. Then on Thursday, we're going to have race picks for the All-Star race. And then, of course, Friday, a NASCAR news video. Saturday, we got the Truck Series race review. There might be a special video up maybe later in the evening as well. We'll have to wait and see. And then Sunday, of course, is going to be the All-Star race review from North Wilkesboro. That should be really, really exciting and really, really fun. We got a lot of content coming out. We've got the 100 Greatest NASCAR Drivers video for 2023 edition, the 75th anniversary edition. That's going to be coming out during the off week. I'm really looking forward to that. And I've got potentially some pretty big announcements that are going to be coming out for this channel as well as we hit up during the summer. And I plan to get back uploading them to the second channel once again very, very soon, talking about the Cardinals and their resurgence. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.